right, it is now time for raising funds for World Domination, day number 136. So as for the standard intro, it's now less than a month until the next N13 merits hearing. No work on that today. And as usual, we're going to be today thinking about working toward the next release of the terminal block mining simulation game. Today, I continued work on the next long form video. So scripting, video recording, voicing is all 100% done. The editing, I calculated it exactly today. Today, I actually didn't get too much done in terms of the timeline, but the current editing is it's at 42% done. So I think earlier I said maybe it'd be done Monday, Tuesday. So at this point, at this rate, it's not looking. It's probably not going to be done Monday or Tuesday. It's probably going to be later in the week. And as for the next release of the terminal block mining game, I said last couple of days that around about this time I'm pretty much going to just arbitrarily declare victory on. I have the screen layer merging working. I've kind of endlessly refactored it to simplify it and get all the bugs out. It's not as fast as I'd like, but it's pretty decent. And at this point, I think a lot of the big wins that I can do on optimization are done. And at this point, I'm kind of just doing a victory lap, and I'm just running the profiler to see if there's like any just like really easy low-hanging fruit I can get to squeeze any more optimization out of it. I've tried it. I tried running it on the other computer, and it's like moving around with the map area is actually not too bad now, and it's quite stable, and it works with all the bizarre layer merging edge cases. The only thing, the help menu is still quite slow, but that's not a super important feature right now. So we'll continue with work on that. September 7 already. So yesterday I did a bunch of profiling. I tried to do a new profiler. I thought it would give me like better feedback and show me like line by line, because one of the issues is that layer merging function is really huge. So the profiler doesn't give me a breakdown of how much time is being spent by each line. It only does it by function. So I think I'm to actually get like that giant blob of most of that function is like 70% of where the time is going. So I think what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to just split that bigger function into a few smaller functions, and then the profiler will actually tell me at that point which part is responsible for most of that time, and then I can optimize that. So let's go ahead. Oh yeah, after the stream last night, I established that a decent amount of the slowdown was coming from the allocations of some arrays, which I guess makes sense because it would be allocating and deallocating that thousands of times. And I decided I'll maybe have to look in to see if there's a more generic way to solve like memory like a memory, some more intelligent memory pool, but I made this class basically that says like, it's just, it's a variable that lives per class, and what it does is it just says like, give me, because this array, the size of this changes every time you run it, but it basically just says, give me the last one that was allocated, unless it's too small, in which case just allocate a bigger one. And so in that case, it'll sometimes, the memory it returns here will be bigger than necessary, which is fine, as long as it's initialized. Lucas, John Usis says hello. Yesterday was my first time I've tried using IntelliJ profiler. Was interesting, but ended up writing out printf statements, fprintf statements. Probably skill issue of mine. Yeah, when I was looking into profilers, I learned that IntelliJ has a profiler as well. I think there's the free version of IntelliJ, the community edition or whatever, and then there's the what is it, the commercial edition or whatever. Does the free version have the profiler? I've actually never used IntelliJ profiler, but sometimes, I guess, depends what you're doing. If it's a Ultimate Edition, yeah. My my operating systems professor for real-time operating systems, who I regard as one of those like eccentric genius types, who taught one of the hardest courses at Waterloo. He explained it. His perspective, which I kind of agree with, was that when you're a noob and you don't know what you're doing, you start debugging by writing like printf statements. And then when you become a bit more knowledgeable and you learn like how to actually write software, and like a professional, you learn how to use a debugger. And then he went on to say, and then when you become like a real seasoned expert, you go back to using printf statements, which does make sense because sometimes the debuggers lie and they're inconvenient. I think it probably depends on what you're doing. They're all tools to like run an experiment and figure out what the problem is. And the right solution is just whatever is the fastest. Sometimes that's a debugger and sometimes it's printf. Yeah, and then another thing I did was actually split off one of those functions. So I'll run the game and see what it does. So it should also be faster tonight, because that memory reallocation thing did speed it up a bit. It does seem pretty nice and smooth. This is like a pretty crappy old laptop, and the fact that it's decent on here is a really good sign. Help menu is still probably... Oh wow, interesting. Huh. Yeah, that's kind of incredible. On my other machine, my main computer, which is like... That's actually like very good. I can, as soon as I let off the key, it stops scrolling. On my other machine, so this is like a garbage old laptop from 10 years ago, but my other main machine that I paid like more than $2,000 for it lags. The screen's a bit bigger, so I guess that's using more terminal space, but that's a pleasant surprise. I guess so that might mean the optimization for this and performance for this edition might be like pretty tolerable. Debuggers are nice when you want to check what data you're working with, but for performance checking, printfs are good enough. If there's nothing too fancy about what's going on. Yeah, debuggers I think are, especially when you have like a lot of state and you have no idea what state is causing the problem. Sometimes it's just, it's like, it's so convenient to just breakpoint on something and then like run to the breakpoint and then just like hover over all the variables, and then you can be like, oh, that variable that I didn't expect is totally wrong. Rayan says, hello there. How's it going? Autistic Stoner says, hello, Robert. How's it going? Dukyop Bias says, evening, Robert. How's it going? Write once, debug everywhere. Yep. Although, actually, I think it's, I've heard that phrase before, but I guess that would kind of imply that it runs differently everywhere. But for the most part, I think Java is pretty good in that it runs pretty consistently on all platforms. Rian says, what OS is used on the machines? You mean the two different machines with different performance? I guess that's it's Ubuntu on both. I think this might have an older version. It's me, Miss Jess. YouTube has changed my name again. Yeah, that's that kind of throws me off sometimes. I recognize your username, but it goes back and forth between, there's like the display name, there's like the username, and then the display name, and it randomly goes back and forth. I don't know why why they do that. Java's fine. The only thing I don't really like about it is that for small programs, it gobbles up a bit too much space and memory. At least with frameworks for web dev, like Spring Boost. Yeah, it is a memory hog for sure. MD Explains says, hi, how's it going? No explanation for the name change on the same device. Yeah, actually, I've noticed they've gone back and forth. I think it's at least 3 or 4 times. I guess I would notice because I've been reading chat every single day, and I have definitely noted from the regulars. I've noticed that they've gone back and forth at least that many times. So, at first I thought maybe they were maybe they did like an A/B test and they concluded that one is better than the other, but you know, you would think they would. I can understand changing it, but changing it back and forth so many times doesn't make sense. I got called a Karen in my comment section on a video I posted yesterday. Is it a video about computer programming? Robert, you're a semi-legend? Only a semi-legend? Well, I'll have to work harder then to reach true legend status. My block mining game is just not fast enough to reach true legend status. The tests look like they're passing though. Google AI account 1. It says, oh, hey, how do you pronounce that? Hi? H-A-I? Okay, the program works. There's no bugs. Video about community, me doing some community service, but it sure is inspiring to build a surveillance drone to catch litter bugs. Okay, yeah, I guess you get some, you definitely get some weird comments every now and then. It's just a part of YouTube. It's been said that when Robert sleeps, is that he often dreams of dancing with bites and of a magical Malloc sword. I do think about how to fix bugs when I sleep. Do you know what a glowy is? Like undercover agents? Forgot to release the first community. I think that's what it says. It's hard to see from the glow of the monitor. Oh, did he say community? Oh, community service. I didn't read that part. All right, so what I'll probably do tonight is work on splitting up this function, or at least the merge down function. I was thinking that I can probably first I'll probably split this function into two functions. Or should I? Maybe I'll just leave it like this. So if I iterate over twice, it's twice as much waste of time. See, splitting this up will be annoying because now I have to pass like 50 variables. So I'm thinking about, so I have this loop here. I could try to break it into a function, or this one here. So those are the only two main parts that are left of this. And those two things are taking up like 70% of the time. Maybe I'll break out this one. Yeah, it's a tough world being a homeless person these days. I mean, it's really rough. As more and more people are becoming homeless, like more and more. I see more and more videos of just like regular people in their 20s and stuff getting evicted, and but then of course like the homeless encampments down here. I mean, it's a total mess. They have a dumpster beside it. Like they just constantly clean it up and throw out a bunch of stuff, and then they come in back, and I'll think, oh, they're cleaning it up, because they got a court order a few times to like have it to shut it down and clean it up, and then they came and threw away a bunch of stuff, and then it just comes right back. Councils are criminalizing homelessness, destroying their tents and finding them. Such a compassionate society. Yeah. It's I mean, honestly I feel I have sympathy for the homeless people. I also have sympathy for the like residents who want homeless people out of their area, because it's not like when you go to the park and stuff like that with your kid and there's like needles and stuff on the ground, that's completely unacceptable. And I would say the people I have the lack of sympathy for are the government that facilitates this whole situation, because there's like a million policies that we could have that would ameliorate the situation, but we don't do it. So we have needle response unit. Yeah, it's a needle response unit. That's like one of the ultimate indications of the dystopia. Instead of like fixing the problem, we just like medicated it. Never enough money for housing and healthcare. It's also things have also been set up with a policy framework that makes that stuff impossible. In the real estate channels that I watch, apparently, so I was looking it up. The GTA area has a population of 6.7 million. I think I was mentioning this on a previous stream, but I didn't know the numbers. So the metro area is 6.7 million people. And it was something like 300 new houses were sold. Newly constructed houses were sold in July. Now that's kind of a specific metric, because newly constructed is not, I think the total houses sold was like 3,000 or something. And that's of course houses, which in a city, like in downtown Toronto, there's no houses in downtown Toronto. It's like, high density urban stuff. But I mean, in the entire GTA, like just think about that. Like think about standing in front of a crowd of 6.7 million people, and what the size of 6.7 million people is, and we only built 300 and some houses in 1 month for those people. And people are wondering, like, why are people not starting families? Yeah, you mentioned before about that stuff. I'm not particularly interested in that content. But if you have some comments about related to programming or job finding or business development, that's a bit more on topic. Nothing good can happen for anyone if they don't secure housing. Yeah, it's kind of like the one core thing you need. It's like it's the most important first thing you need, and it's the most impossible to get in modern society. You have recently inspired me to raise funds for world domination. Hope you don't get in my way. Yeah, I guess it probably is good to inspire more young people to take over the world. Maybe if there was more high quality talent competing for world domination, then we'd have better people to vote for. Problem that could be fixed by not giving the rich tax breaks, screwing over low income people. It's a hard one because everything is dependent on a functioning, like you need a successful functioning economy, and the immediate effect of raising or lowering taxes, like if you just immediately raise taxes to like 90%, the rich people who have the people who are the richest have the most ability to move and just get out of that area. So what would happen is the businesses, if you increase taxes, the businesses leave, and then you have less economic activity. But of course, if you want to attract business, you lower taxes, and then more people come there because they can make money faster. But it's a difficult balance, because if you lower taxes too much, people are not happy about that because they want rich people to pay their fair share. If you raise taxes too much, and if you're not sustainable enough, like the UK is going through this problem right now, where they expected a certain amount of tax revenue and they are not getting it. So like, oh well, we'll just increase the tax slightly, but then the taxes are already really bad, so they increase them a bit, and then for every percent they increase it, another wave of rich people will say, you know what, this is not worth it for me, and then they leave, and then there's even more shortfall, and then the next year the budget gets worse. And then, well, I don't know if you guys saw the news. The UK is apparently, they're talking about an IMF bailout, which is pretty spectacular. Game Dev Chad says, howdy. How's it going? Need to tax wealth? Well, I don't know about wealth. I think generally speaking, I think if you're to tax wealth or profit, I would say profit should be over wealth, because if you tax wealth, that's one of those things that's, you know, going to trigger a lot of people and make them leave. The other thing is, it makes sense to tax things that you don't want to have happen. Tax bad behaviors. I mean, ideally, we just need we need better enforcement of existing law. We need like a renaissance in like auditing and tax compliance, especially for like rich people, because a lot of the people that get audited and stuff are like, you know, some small business, like Louis Rossman's tiny business. Need tax wealth because they're using wealth to gain more wealth, making the assets housing are affordable. I don't know. I think it's that's an overly simplistic view of it. I think there could maybe be like the whole point of capitalism is you're supposed to allocate capital in a way that that you know that maximizes the amount of growth. And if it does make sense, if someone has accumulated a lot of wealth and it's just sitting there in cash, not doing anything, that's money that you would want to incentivize that somehow to be invested in the real economy. UK once got an IMF loan, but didn't even use it. Interesting. That this happened in the past at some point? Didn't know about that. If you inflate and print currency endlessly, constantly take loans, then you devalue everything except held property. Everyone is going to try to own property that appreciates, which makes housing skyrocket, which makes building homes more expensive. Yeah, well, the other, I think at least in terms of like Vancouver housing, if you denominate it in bars of gold, apparently has gone down. And what has actually become the story of housing increasing in cost has mainly from the currency itself becoming more worthless. And I mean, there's also it's on. I think the actual like root causes of a financial mismanagement at a given time can also be different and not obvious. Like some of it is like, oh, there's one big issue in Canadian real estate that's brewing right now, and that is the fact that it's like, you know, everything's becoming more unaffordable in Canada, and it's becoming less economic to build housing because the incomes don't support, like nobody can afford anything, so people can't even afford to rent stuff anymore. And we're building I think so there's way the percentage of new like rental housing construction apparently is all being underwritten by CMHC, which is the government like loan corporation. So there's an unprecedented amount of these construction loans that are almost certainly going to be like not viable and lose money when they actually complete, and it's all on the balance sheet of the government. And historically, most of this stuff was not financed on the balance sheet of the government, but now it's like 80% all on these CMHC loans. So then it's basically sowing the seeds for the next crisis when all this stuff defaults. Then it's going to be the taxpayer that pays for it. Didn't expect politics in the chat. Yeah, we got into the topic about housing, which of course is intrinsically interwoven with politics. I may dig tunnels for subworld domination. That's a good plan. I mean, you can't dominate the whole world with it, without also dominating the underworld. North Koreans were doing that lately. I haven't seen the news on that. Tax is not a solution. Governments need to stop printing and pocketing. Yeah, I think there's lots of like theories and economic models, and like people should do this and that, and like here's the group of people we can take stuff from. But ultimately, we need to be more productive. We need to actually produce more stuff. Thinking about creating a system that will pick 3 candidates from some online marketplace and give a description of each other to one another, so when they arrive, creating a system that will pick 3 candidates. I don't really know what you're talking about by that. The online marketplace. Looks like one of my comments got blocked. Yeah, if you've increasingly, I'm starting to develop the opinion that when you say things that get censored, you're like, you must be hitting on some protected truth or something. It surprised me how much, like, just certain idea. It seems like certain ideologies are censored more than certain like words or like actually harmful things. Robert, do you like any other J-pop or just Miku? I guess saying that I like it is maybe what would you call it? A bit more is a bit more than I would say my interest in it is. I mainly just included the Miku figurine. It was trending around the time, and I knew that would be very popular with the programming audience. So I would say like a general Japanese culture and anime and stuff like that. It's interesting. It's one of the things that if I got interested in it at a younger age, I would probably spend more time. I probably could have gotten, like, there's, among the programming audience, there's a lot of people who are really into that stuff. But having said that, I've never actually watched a full anime before, so I don't know any of the lore on any of that stuff. I met when I was in California, when I was working at NVIDIA, there was I stayed in a hacker hostel, and there was a bunch of random people there. There was actually a girl there from Japan, and she introduced me to like various J-pop and K-pop artists. Another one, Kiare Pemu, which is a pretty ridiculous one. It's an interesting case study in the uniqueness of Japanese culture. Can't say this platform. I can't say the name of this platform in the word. And the word sensor. Huh. Automated system. A meeting spot. What are you talking about, autistic stoner? That's not. You're talking about creating some system to, like, cause chaos. Getting blocked every time. Huh. Don't anger the algorithm. So use for clout only? Yeah, basically. Although I don't necessarily understand the definition of the word clout always confuses me. I used to think it was like a, what do you call it, like street cred or something. I've seen her live 3 times. She has a baby. Oh, that's good. Maybe Japan will survive after all. They fixed their low birth rate. Yeah, I've also it's also kind of disappointing though. I think a lot of J-pop and K-pop stars are like way more controlled than Western pop stars. It's all like kind of, they all seem to have like they have like, there's like a financial overlords that kind of control what they can do. And the band seems to exist mostly as like a corporate entity, basically. Legal chaos where 3 buyers are asking one another if they got the product they listed for sale. I don't know what you're talking about. It sounds like you're having. Are you talking about some product you're trying to build, or are you talking about the things that other people are talking about here? She would need to have more than one. I guess that's true. But I guess technically, as long as you have at least one, your DNA is going to survive. So maybe her child will make up and have 10 children. They're controlled in every way. Yes, it's 100% a financial entity. Yeah, that's disappointing. Because like their whole like that kind of ruins the appeal of a pop star if they're not like if their image and brand is a manufactured product. I want wholesome whole grain celebrities that are organically grown without pesticides. Yeah, we need more we need more good K-pop stars or J-pop stars. There's starting to be organic groups that have more control right around music. They're gonna have to watch out for the corporates will come in and take over. Cannot find S. Should be able to find S. $576. Yeah, Japan is Japan's interesting, but I also think there's like a like from what I understand about Japan, there's like the naive Western view of Japan, like everything's colorful and happy and nice, but it seems like it's a very I don't know what you call it. There's a much higher like pressure to be socially cohesive there. So it seems like there's a lot of very very restrictive, and there's like the kind of what the Western view is like very flashy, like pop stars, anime, stuff like that. That's what people imagine, but in the reality, it seems like it's just really depressed salarymen going to work and just trying to survive, and all sorts of social issues that occur behind closed doors. All right, I think that's going to compile. Oh, that's not good. I did not expect that. That's not cool. Start X. Oh, start X. Got something called the Great Reno Balloon Race, where people fly their hot air balloons. It's kind of cool. Photographed them. Seen skydivers jumping from balloons. Neat. All right, that is compiling. Let's run the tests. All right, so the end goal of this will be now when I run the profiler, it should actually show me the breakdown of which part of that giant function is taking up all of the wall clock time. And I can actually optimize it. I think I'm getting closer down to closer to the point where it's like a bunch of small things that are going to be like a few percent here and there. But I'll try to get through the big wins in performance increases and then go ahead with the next release. Website is dark since blue eyes are more sensitive to light. Is that true? The blue eyes are more sensitive to light? The blueness comes from the iris. I don't know my eye anatomy that well, but the pupil is where the light goes through. Actually, I have no idea. I'd have to look that up. I would assume that eye sensitivity is invariant to eye color, but I could be wrong. Let's see. Oh yeah, I was gonna check something. Lots of shocking facts about the human body. Yeah, it's complicated. Light eye colors, such as blue or green, are associated with increased light sensitivity because they have less pigment, melanin, in the iris to block light. Okay. So I guess it's true. That's interesting. So I guess that means there's some light that goes. I don't know the. I don't know the. Like the physics of the light of the eye super well. I kind of thought that the pupil was like where most of the light went through, but I guess some of it must also go through the iris as well. But I would assume it couldn't be as much as the pupil. Is this still your terminal-based game? Yes. It is indeed the terminal-based game. This lower melon content makes it harder for light to be absorbed, leading to greater light exposure to the back of the eye. Increased sensitivity to bright light sources like sunlight. I have dark eyes, but being a migraine sufferer, I do appreciate dark theme. So I want to look to see if the screen layer is getting reset somewhere. So I remember when I profiled it last night, it was still, those memory allocations were actually taking quite a bit of time. The ones that I wrapped with that memory pooling class. Actually, I have to test this locally. White happens to be the only downside to my Wisp project, since outdoor equipment is white. Gonna dread maintenance and installation. Oh, I guess for that, I took a minute to process that. I think it meant because of the glare of the bright equipment. So we're going to run Visual VM, and we'll profile where the current slowness is coming from. I got blocked for saying that? For saying what? I can't even know because you got blocked. Make a pump fund coin and use the fees to fund this journey. Nope, I'm not going to do any scam coins. I'll start my own coin, a real coin. Getting really tired of it. The other day, I tried to help someone in the comments. Wanted to get into game dev. Every reply got blocked. Huh. Yeah, there's I have a community post that you may have saw where I highlighted I was watching a video where someone was talking about dead internet theory, and then there was a thing in the comments, or one of those like community note things under it. It's like, dead internet theory is a conspiracy theory that says that all online activity is bots. But the punchline is there's a bunch of people have posted comments on it, and the comments are getting like shadow banned or something. Like I see them pop on one of my pages, but then when I click on them and try to like look at them, I can't find them. Replying to a comment of mine asking for advice. Yeah, that stuff is that's really that is very disheartening to be banned for, like especially with you're obeying all the rules. There's no like there's no swear words or anything. Then why? Like, why would it be doing that? Especially if you're talking about game development. Like, surely a large language model in this day and age could figure out that it's innocent. Sounds like chat has been shadow banned. Yeah, it's possible. I'm pretty sure I'm on basically every other platform other than YouTube. I think I've on like for sure. I think Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I think it's been like a long ago that I don't know, something. I got into some kind of trigger. Although recently, my Instagram has been trending up a lot. Like the I don't know whether it's coincident or not, but like almost immediately after the U.S. bombed Iran, suddenly all of my Instagram posts get like way more views. If I reply saying I can't reply because my comments are blocked, that gets blocked also. Elsewhere, my comments are seen. Yeah, I also think it's I kind of think people get like kind of mutual, like people get into like shadow banned groups where they can see each other's comments. So I notice on my when I see posts, and actually if you sort, so there's like top comments, and then if you sort by like newest, if you sort by newest comments, usually when you sort by that one, the like shadow banned ones will actually appear. And I've noticed before that there's some comments that are like getting, you know, shadow banned. They show up only in the new tab, or even when I go into my moderation tab, they're like there's a bunch of comments there that I usually don't get to them, where people post like swear words or something, or like obviously just low quality comments, and I can see there's other people who can see and are replying to the like held comments. So when you post stuff that gets like shadow banned or gets like suppressed, there are some percentage of people I think that can actually see it and reply to it. But I guess that begs the question of why are those people able to see it? News first sometimes will show, but the user I'm applying to won't get notified. Yeah, it's kind of annoying. Comment saying what game dev Chad, what he said going through sent chills. I don't really understand that comment. Do you think that shadow banning is done by the content producers themselves? Definitely not. Like for me, I do like on my videos, I do almost no moderation at all. There are like a handful. I'd say like in all the thousands of comments I've gotten, I probably have only, there's like a few people that I've had to hide from channel. People just kind of obsessively talk about really off-topic, inappropriate stuff. But I also see there's a lot of stuff, random stuff that gets auto-moderated on my content, or gets like, there's a couple different categories of it. One is stuff will show up in, there's like a held category. So if you actually write like a swear word, like, F you or something like that on a comment, a lot of times that'll show up as a held comment, so then I have to approve it. But then there's other stuff, and I find the most common category is when someone makes a joke, when someone jokes about a conspiracy theory. That seems to be one of the things that the algorithm really doesn't like, and it'll put that into like, so you have to sort the comments by newest, but those ones often do not show up in the like held tab for me. They just like, I find sometimes too, someone will post something, it'll show up in the held category, and then after a few hours it'll disappear. I don't think you can hide comments. It's a popular VR channel. He's talked to me before. Yeah, it's almost certainly like there's like any times if anyone has ever posted anything and that individual, like I don't think I've ever deleted an individual comment. I've usually either like given someone a timeout or I just ban them. So if anyone's posting like comments and they're selectively being deleted, that's YouTube. And usually you can, if you switch from top chat to live chat, it'll show up. He said he's getting blocked. He says, I can't reply because my comments got blocked. Yeah. No joking. Nope. Jokes are prohibited. If you like VR, check out Virtual Studio. Virtual Skate just came out last week. Dev hasn't slept more than 4 hours at a time. Oh, that brightest hurt on the eyes. Okay, so it seems like I guess that would be 26% of the time in that function is spent in the setup. 32% is spent in the apply occlusions. That's annoying. It doesn't let me go down. That was the whole point of putting that in a separate place. All jokers will be stripped of their battle rap uniform immediately and relieved of duty from world domination. That's not cool. My face is lit up. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I had to alt tab out of it because it's so It's too bright. It's annoying. I spent time, so I refactored that function to be out of here, but the stupid profiler doesn't show me. I want to like go into this. I need to figure out how to get it to show me more of the calls. So that's the slowest function. So I want to know, what is it calling? Actually, maybe it doesn't call anything. Maybe the things that it does call are negligible, and that's why it's not. Because it obviously does some function calls. I guess that can be optimized. I thought optimizations were going to be a DLC feature. What's DLC? Downloadable content. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna do a release pretty soon, and then we'll step back and maybe think about monetization, more aggressive monetization strategies. So I guess this has narrowed it down a bit. Interesting. The logging is taking a lot. Let's try that. Oh wait, no. I want that locally. So that should give a 18% performance increase just commenting those two log statements according to the profiler. How do you get your apps to pop out? Apps to pop out like that settings? I'm not sure what you mean by pop out. Oh, like this this overview here? This is just when I do Alt Tab on Ubuntu. Oh, on the side? That's just the whatever what is it called? Unity or something? Like the feature where I think it's just a right click thing. So you right click and maybe on like a unused area. Actually, I think I remember someone on stream told me, and they're like, hey, what do you think about changing the setting that does that? I'm like, okay, sure. I never thought about doing that because I didn't know it was possible. But there's some setting, I guess. I don't remember what it was. I just maybe it was in like display settings or something. Yeah, I guess it's probably not It's not in the right click. I don't know. It's Ubuntu is always notoriously difficult to kind of like customize the user interface stuff. I think their motto was they don't want to make like configuration, like control panel settings, because then they have to maintain it, and then it'll have bugs. So they just don't write it in the first place, and you have to download these obscure tools. All right, let's reopen this. And we'll go to sampler, sample CPU, and we'll scroll up and down a bunch and collect some new samples. And this should verify that we have an 18% performance increase from removing that log statement. Draw borders has taken 14%. It's quite a bit. All right, that's better. So that the execute line printing instruction is basically all occupied by the write to local frame buffer now. And these two halves, it's interesting, they're both about half. And I still can't see the breakdown in this function. Annoying. I like logs. I do too, but they were slowing things down, so they had to go. I guess I wasn't really using them that much anyway. %. I could probably fix that. There's some, I have some unnecessary, I'm instantiating some objects unnecessarily. So the main bottlenecks are these two things. So the merge down function itself, what's remaining in there, and this apply occlusions. So I would have to figure out some optimizations on those. That's going to be the end of the road. Heading out. Have a great night. You as well. Thanks for stopping by. So this function here is where 40% of the time is taken. And this function up here is where about another 40% is. So I bet it'd be nice if like a profiler would tell me more. Like if something would tell me specifically why this is slow. So those only take a few percent. That's pretty good. I won't try to optimize that. My guess is it's probably the branching that's so bad. I guess we'll have to look for stuff that's deep. Deep in the nested loop. Made breakthrough in my moving plans. A friend of mine is a neurologist. He's going to help me out. Don't know where it's going from there. I have a place to stay. Nice. Yeah, if you, like I said, given the way the world is now, if you can reflect back on the people in your network, and then if you have a decent relationship with some of these people, you can kind of rekindle those old relationships and try to get introductions to other people they know. That's probably the best trajectory. Because hoping for, I mean, one big issue is society in general is becoming a lower trust place. So there's like, if someone is in need, like if a random person comes up to me and says like, hey man, I'm homeless and I need some money or something, like many years ago, like in the Great Depression, if someone said like, hey, I'm homeless and starving, can you buy me food? The probability that that person would actually use your money to buy food was extremely high. But nowadays, if some random person comes up to you and says like, hey man, can I please get some money for food? The chance that they're actually going to use that in good faith is much lower. Older Japanese guy. Lost his dad like me. We kind of bond. Always been kind of like a dad. Yeah, that's based on what you described, it sounds like that could lead to something positive for you. if only I can optimize this function so it takes 0% instead of 40% of the CPU time. So I think the iteration bounds are as tight as they can be. So that can be out here. Let's see if that optimizes anything. No, it doesn't compile. Gonna miss my computer setup. Not gonna be able to code for a while. You don't know. I never tried coding on a mobile phone before. Like I said, well, if you have a laptop, though, you can. Well, I don't know. Not sure what your plans are, but if you can bring like a small spare laptop. I remember back in the day I had this like mini laptop that was like $300 that I bought. Was it an Acer Aspire 1? I think that's what it was called. There's also the I also bought an EPC, and that thing was really awful. I remember it had some kind of like hardware problem where every time I would boot it up, it would make this really loud beeping noise. All right, let's see what the details are. Okay, I guess that actually did. That was a pretty simple optimization. And assuming that this is representative, that took the these were about the same. And now this one, the apply occlusions is 42%, and this is 30%. I'll take that optimization. Still have it actually? Yeah, I think I still have mine too. Problem is you can't repair a lot of small stuff. Yeah, I haven't really ever tried. It was the EPC. Yeah, I think I remember buying that thing back then as well, thinking like, wow, this is it's portable, like super portable computing. I remember the EPC I got, I actually ended up selling it because it was like really, I think the performance was really bad, and it had that weird hardware issue where whenever I booted up, it would just make this loud noise, which seems like such a simple problem to fix and identify, but I guess not. Mine worked, but just so slow. Yeah, I think that was another reason I sold it. I don't remember much about having it. I just know I bought it and I was immediately disappointed. And then I thought, oh, I guess having a portable mini computer is not realistic. And then I bought the Acer Aspire 1 laptop, which was that was quite good. That was impressive. I had that for years. I didn't really use it that much, but when I needed some kind of like portable real laptop, I was able to use it for a bunch of stuff. Was it blue? And it was about the same size as an EPC? Yeah, dark blue. That might have been the same one. It's a long time ago. Yep. All right, I don't know, I may have squeezed most of the optimizations out of this thing. These days I have two NCUs. I feel like I need a laptop. Last time I went on a trip, I almost didn't get home in time to work. But if I had a laptop, I could have worked from anywhere. Yeah, in the last like decade or so, I've tended to go for laptops instead of desktops because in school I had a tendency to move around a lot, but more recently I've come to regret buying a laptop. And next computer I buy, I'll probably get a desktop. Again, I haven't owned a desktop in a long time. Kept breaking them. How do you break them? Just don't look after them. Accidentally watered it with a watering can. You're not supposed to do that. Everything I bought in the last 20 years has been a desktop. They're all running. It's pretty good luck. I think equipment, it seems like a lot of stuff made in the last decade or so is going down in quality. I guess I can do this. That's a little bit simpler. Smallest NCU is the size of hamburger. Portable. Do have a little portable monitor for it. Yeah, it seems like the limiting reagent now on. Oh wow, that's nice and fast. It seems like the limiting reagent on computers now is the capacity to dissipate heat. You should Twitch stream. Yeah, it's been on my to-do list. Ideally, I would like to have some more hardware for doing that. I think most of my audience is on YouTube, so I'll continue with that for now. I would need a multi-streaming solution, and I know these like websites where you can multi-stream and stuff, but I guess Streamlabs might, or no, is it Streamlabs or Stream Elements? I forget. It's a thing I need to look into. Used to love Twitch. The price of subs turbo got stupid. Huh. How much has it? How has it changed exactly? I thought a sub was like $6 or something. Twitch is an interesting website. It's historically it's been pretty like, I don't know, not user friendly. It's always had so many problems, and people say that Twitch is going to die, but then it never does. Let's see if that small change made any difference. I think AOD and CAD are about a party. Turbo 15.99 a month. Is that Turbo? Is that like doesn't force you to see ads or something? Single channel $8.99. Turbo's okay. Works on all channels. Oh wow, that's almost not lagging. So this was at 30% and 42%. And they share Turbo revenue across streamers. Oh, interesting. I didn't even know that existed. There's so much. It requires so much comprehension and like knowledge to even understand the culture of these platforms. I visited Twitch a number of times. I didn't even know that Turbo existed. A lot of Twitch streamers co-stream on YouTube. Even Kick now. Yeah, I heard that Mr. Beast signed some deal to be on Kick, which is kind of random. I always associated Kick with being like this super degenerate streaming platform that like it's only for like gambling and stuff. Is possible your performance optimizing before you've implemented? Is it possible your performance optimizing before you've implemented a lot of functions? I would say no. Actually, if you check back to probably like day 80 or so of the series, that's when I was starting to work on like refactoring this screen layer merging function. And so it's been originally I was like, you know what, I could probably crank this out in a couple days. And then I was like, yeah, I should add this feature. And it got so complicated. I was like, I should add some fuzz testing. So I wrote all these fuzz testing things. And so the functionality and the unit tests to test the functionality are all pretty baked in. And I'm pretty confident about the behavior now. Interesting. So did apply occlusions take even more time now? I thought it was 42% or something. I can't remember what it was. I'll keep that changed though, because I can't understand why that would make it slower. I used to be a mod on Twitch for a Viola streamer, but barely watch it now. I said it's so many ads. Don't want to give Amazon money anymore. Interesting. Being a mod would be a lot of work. It's like you're working for free. Nobody pays you. You gotta read all these crazy comments from crazy people on the internet. So unfortunately the profiler doesn't tell me, but I think these function calls are like probably like a quarter of the runtime of this function. So I guess the other 75% of optimization would be in this. And I'm not sure there's much I can do. I guess I could try to flatten these together. Because these probably doesn't need to be a separate flag. Because I OR them together anyway. Yeah, I guess I could probably try that. And that might be the last optimization. I could remove one more of those. Wasn't working at the time. Was made redundant. Got a huge payout. Nice. Twitch is lighter on moderation than other platforms. Yeah, it's definitely an act of generosity to put in all the time to moderating that stuff. It makes me think of people. Speaking of earlier, I was talking about the dead internet theory, conspiracy theory. I keep seeing the comment. People post the comment on YouTube now. A live internet theory. I'll see that a lot. Like there'll just be some really funny meme or something that's really topical with like something that's happening in the world, or it's like a really funny song that's very meme related, and everyone's like, a live internet theory. Eventually the forces of thousands of random people will come together to make the internet alive. That's what it's becoming. We're all just feeding information into this giant consciousness, and AI is gobbling it all up. Even right now, as I say this, everything I say is being transcribed and ingested into the machine. It's when I'll go offline. It's already happening. What a monstrosity this has become. But at least it works, and it seems like it's getting pretty fast. Are you a hologram powered by AI? Not yet. But in the future, probably. I think I found one more optimization. I could put that in here. Or actually, that would just be equals true. Can also be up here. These two lines seem like a good candidate to try and remove. All right, let's test out that change. See if it breaks anything. Looking good. So that's probably going to work. All right, so that says 48 and 31. All right, that's lower. Not sure if it's statistically significant. James 3D Prints says hello. How's it going? Been doing stuff on my channel. Nice. What are you working on? I'm currently working on finishing up, actually, some optimizations to the screen layer merging functions that I've been working on for the past 40 plus days or more. All right, that is working. That's good. Can I have the code for some upgrading? The code is on GitHub if you want to look at it, but it's proprietary code. You can only use it for personal reasons. If you become a channel member, or you comply with the proprietary license. There should be a link in the description. Is it the latest version? If you just clone the repo, you'll get like the version I pushed today, which is the latest version. The last release version was quite a while ago, or a couple of months ago. And there was a number of like design flaws and printing issues and stuff. But I've spent quite a few days refactoring everything, and I added like a compatibility mode, so if you try to play it on like terminals that don't print things well, you should still get some functionality out of it. Going to steal your code and make a puppy version and become rich. Well, there's already the code for the pink version in it, so. But pretty soon I'll I'll have a version with the multiplayer server version and stuff too. So if I get that first, then I'll beat you to it. Should I mention you on my channel? I guess if you want, if you're interested in it, if you are if there's if there's people who are interested in terminal games and stuff on your channel. Multiplayer, yeah, multiplayer has been a frequently requested feature. I think of it if I do. Well, the screen printing stuff, that has been a major overhaul. I think if I implemented multiplayer, it would take quite a while to get it like fully production ready. It'd be like just another marathon run, just like the with the screen printing stuff. But we'll see. We'll have to raise some funding for that. And with that, it's at 12:44. We've got some optimizations done tonight. It seems pretty fast. I think this is. I was kind of fearful I would have to do a release where it was still like horribly, unplayably slow, but it seems like it's shaping up pretty nice. So we'll leave it there for tonight. And I guess we'll be back for day 137. I gotta kind of wrap this up. So I don't know. I saw like a few optimizations I could probably do. There's probably like a few more percent speed that I can squeak out of it. But we'll see. Well, maybe, I don't know, spend another day on it, and then I'll try to get together a release of it. Or I should also do a day of just like play testing to make sure I haven't broken anything. Very fast copy. Yeah, for the repo. Yeah, it shouldn't be too big. All right, we'll leave it there for tonight. Have a good night, everyone.